Are you ready for it?
Whoop, whoop. Here I come.
Oh.
Here I come.
Welcome, everybody. Episode 6, Leather and Lumber Podcast, presented by Lynx Baseball. Lynx Baseball is sponsored by Marucci, the official bat of Major League Baseball. Marucci, honor the game. Everyone, we have a very important guest with us this morning, Southwest Lynx Director, Gary Mendoza. Gary, what's up, buddy? How are you?
What's going on, John? Sorry, my voice is a little messed up.
A little messed up. A lot of yelling, a lot of coaching.
Yeah, a lot of yelling.
A lot of yelling. I got you. All right. For everybody that doesn't know, Gary's been with the organization for about a year now. I want to cover his backstory. I want to cover how we got his son over here to play for us. The story of Gary and joining the organization as a director and as a board member. And then he and I are going to chop it up about the Dodgers for a little bit. Gary's out in LA in the Inland Empire. He big Dodgers fan, comes from a family of Dodgers fans. So Gary, why don't you go over let's talk about first your background in baseball and in coaching.
Well, I've been playing baseball obviously since I was like 4 years old. Grew up in a baseball family. 4-year letterman in high school, which is an interesting story as well, but we'll get to that later. Um, got hurt right after I graduated high school at 17, and kind of went to a little dark place in my life. And my dad said, "Hey, why don't you come coach Little League with me? And you can still have the game and this and that." So that's what I did. I started coaching at 17 years old, um, and coached Little League. Obviously, ironically, the first year I coached Little League, I ended up meeting my wife. I coached her brother. And then from Little League, it just transferred to coaching my sister's softball team. That team was fully stacked. Ended up going to the state finals for All-Stars for the first time in the history of the league. Then the next year, we won states, won regionals, and went to the World Series for senior softball uh, out of Bloomington, which is a town of like 1,000 people. Um, from there, decided I was going to start coaching baseball again, and decided we were going to coach my nephew and my son, Michael. And Michael was 4 at the time. And that evolved into our team was turning double plays and throwing too hard. So we had to find something different. So we started playing travel ball. Been coaching, for a very long time. Went from just coaching a mom and pop team, just a local team full of my pony kids, and ended up joining a small organization. Did well there. Then I got an opportunity to coach with CBA, and I took it. I was running youth teams at CBA. We're doing well there. And as I grew and as the system grew, I got offered a pretty good spot to coach in the ZT and the IE. For those of you who don't know, ZT is like the monster and youth travel ball. They started in Texas and now they're taking over the world. Me and my buddy Joseph Gomez, I've known him since I was 8, 9 years old. I decided to help him and be a second silent behind the scenes, but just coaching. Started coaching national groups, coaching USA, Junior Olympics, pretty much done it all. And got to the point where my son was in high school, and I had to retire because I can't focus on my son and focus on other people's kids, and I wasn't gonna do half of either one. So I left very respectfully and professionally with ZT. Just told my buddy Joseph Gomez, who are still BFFs now, that I'm gonna step away. I did that and focused on Michael. And then out of nowhere, I get a DM from the Dodger scout team.
Yep.
for Michael, and here we are.
Yep.
So
Yeah. So the background on us finding Michael, Manny and Dennis actually coached Michael in Cary when he came out for the USA stuff for the NTIS. And at the time, Manny was like, "This kid's unbelievable. Like, how do we get him?" And we knew he played for ZT. We knew he played for CBA, and we were just like, you know what? He's a California guy. He's probably not going to leave. And then I get a call from Caesar, who was our GM at the time, and he was like, "Hey, you got to call this dad." And I was like, "All right, I'll call." And it's probably January 15th, and I call, and Gary answers the phone, and I said, "Hey man, look, I'm Jon Link. I run the Dodgers scout team, former Dodgers player, current Dodgers scout, and this is what we do." And Gary was very receptive, but he also said at the same time, he goes, "Look, man," he goes, "I'm going to do my homework on you guys. Like, I'm not going to rush into this decision. I think Michael's a good player. I don't know if he's a great player, but I'm going to make sure that I do right by my son." And I said, "That's all that I can ask. Call me back in a few days and let me know what you decide." So, Gary, tell me some about that research that you did when you were kind of looking into us and making the decision to bring Michael over.
Well, I had known 2 previous players that played for you in the previous summer, and they had nothing but good things to say about you. But what I didn't tell you was I'm pretty good friends with Dean Weeble, and we talk baseball. I mean, during season, obviously less and less, but we talk quite a bit.
And for
And
everyone that doesn't know, Dino Ebel's the third base coach for the Dodgers.
correct. And I ran into him in person by chance that weekend, I believe, at a Palm Desert tournament where his son Trey and Brady were playing, and Mike was playing, and Dino and I were talking, and he actually told me, he's like, "I think you have more than what you think in Michael. I think he's better than you're giving him credit for." So I said, "Okay." Then
That seems to be a common theme.
yeah, I mean, so then I asked him, "Hey, I have a question for you. Michael got this opportunity for this East Coast Dodger scout team. What do you think about it?" He said, "Let me look into it." I didn't give him any more details. Then about 3 days later, he calls me and he says, "Jon Link." And I said, "Yes." He said, "It's good to go. He's an associate scout with us. Very good guy. Does right by these kids. If you don't take this opportunity, you're pretty much a knucklehead." So I called Jon back and said, "We're in. What do I got to do?" And, you know, coming into it, I had my reservations, former big leaguer, Dodger scout team. Like, what level of care is he really going to give my son was my main concern. Well, that got, yeah, there's no more concerns about that at all. Um, we joined the team. We talked about, I just moved, this, that, the other. You worked out a financial plan for me. We did what we had to do. And in between there and the summer, found out my wife was pregnant, wasn't doing too well. So I called Mr. Link. I said, "Hey, got some situations. Our summer maybe need to be cut in half. My wife is on bed rest, not doing good." And without hesitations, you told me, "No, we got Michael, whatever it takes." So I made that decision. I dropped off Michael in Florida and I left him. And, any reservations I had about the program or the kind of people who were around were instantly gone. I stayed for the first tournament in Florida, took care of them. You guys, I flew home. You guys drove to Georgia with him, I believe.
Yep.
And we had some concerns with Michael about his education that he didn't do too well his freshman year. And I called you and we set up a summer school. The first video I get from you, Jon, I don't know if you remember this, but the very first video I get from you was not my son hitting a ball, training, nothing. It was after a long day of work, this is what we're doing. And one of your coaches just happened to be a math teacher.
Yep.
And he's tutoring Michael. He's helping Michael do his summer school. I'm getting updates online that he's getting 5 out of 5s, 10 out of 10s. At that point, I knew not only was this a good decision for Michael, but this was God putting you guys in our path to be where we need to be for Michael's future.
Yep. Yeah, I remember
And
that day. I remember that day. We'd played God, I think we had 3 teams in Atlanta.
yep.
We were all staying in a big house. And obviously, we had Michael, he was staying with us, a couple of the boys were staying with us, for whatever reasons, parents couldn't be there or whatever. So, they're all doing their thing. And I remember the other 2 players that were with us at that point were upstairs playing video games. And, I called Michael down and I said, "Hey man," I said, "you got schoolwork to do. You need to sit at this table and you need to do your homework." I said, "At least 3 or 4 assignments, like get ahead of it." Right. We're trying to prepare him for the future because in college, right, when they go on the road, they don't have babysitters, right? You got to get your work done and stay ahead of your work. So he sat down and he opened up his computer and he's like, "Hey coach, what I don't know what's going on right now. Like this is not something that I've ever learned." So, I said, "All right, well, good thing Coach Colton is a math teacher." So Jalen came over and, he and Michael sat down for what seemed to be hour and a half, and worked on his homework and did all of his homework. They were, Jalen was tutoring him, they were studying, they were, really getting after it. And that was one of the things to like, I promised Gary that I was going to take care of his son and to make sure that his son had every opportunity to, to succeed and to kind of grow up a little bit, because Gary had originally told me, "Hey, look, I'm kind of on the fence with this. Like he's young, he's got a lot of growing up to do." So, at that time I was like, "You know what? We got this." And, Michael was not the first kid that we've done this with, right? We've helped out some other kids with school and some different things. But I think, this is a player that worked really hard, that deserved this. So that's what we did. And it seemed that we lost Gary for a minute. Gary has a 9 to 5, everybody, and that's actually not a 9 to 5. It's more like a 4:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. job. Gary's an electrician out in California. So we're going to take a break and we're going to do some sponsorship stuff. Like to plug a few of our sponsors. First plug, obviously Marucci, right? MarucciSports.com. They got great gear on the site. Bats, gloves, batting gloves, helmets, anything you need baseball, right? Get back to Marucci.
All
So
right.
MarucciSports.com, right? Go on there, get all your baseball needs. If you want to support Lynx Baseball, lockerroom.maruccisports.com. Sign up. Store code is Lynx Baseball, all one word, LYNX Baseball. Everything on the Lynx Baseball store is 25% off. You get Lynx gear, you get regular Marucci gear, you get anything that you want. The biggest thing for me, their shoes. Their new turf shoes are incredible. They have 3 new lines of cleats. They are awesome. They're lightweight, good traction. The guy that created all this stuff used to work for Nike, was a Nike employee for 20 years, came over to Marucci. He is killing it right now over there. Their turf shoes, the most comfortable turfs that I've ever had on, hands down. All right, Gary. So, I just finished telling the story of Jalen and Michael, working on his homework and everything and getting all that stuff done. So you leave Michael with us. The end of the season comes around. You come out to get him, right? Fly home. And then the baby's born.
Yeah, the missile.
That's
Shout out
right.
to the missile, Maverick the missile.
That's right. Shout out Maverick Mendoza, the missile. What a head of hair that kid has.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So the missile's born, and I call you and I kind of say, "All right, Gary, like, look, you're a good baseball guy. You're important to us and to our organization. We think you have a wealth of knowledge and resources that could help us. Would you be interested in coming back and coming out of retirement? And why don't you go into what happened next?
Well, the opportunity to be part of obviously the Dodger Scout group was amazing, right? But just after the summer we had and everything, there was a no-brainer that I had to be a part of this. The way we and I include me into this as well, do baseball is just a little bit different than everybody else. Not knocking on anybody else, not hey, whatever works for everybody works for everybody. But the way I believe youth baseball and the middle school and high school baseball should be ran is almost identical to what you guys are doing.
Yep.
So I talked to my wife because obviously we 41 years old, having a newborn, having Michael, having another kid in college, Gary, La Sierra University.
Shout out.
Big shout out. I took it, and we decided we're going to grow this brand, and we were going to just open more doors for more kids. I think that was the main goal for us, is not just to expand for a reason of saying, hey, look at us, but is to get more kids opportunities that we could. And I stand firm behind that, because some parents have no idea what it takes to get their kids to the next level, and the resources just aren't there. So we're offering that, and it's just crazy how many kids that we helped,
Yeah.
and it's crazy how many, like, to talk about the Southwest, I've always had a hotbed for baseball. I got a lot of really good partners out here that I work with in youth organizations. I don't really want to focus myself on 6U to 13U. I more want to focus on middle school to high school. So I developed partnerships with youth programs. And last year we had some unfortunate and unforeseen circumstances where we needed players. So I started bringing guys out. And I think that the players that we can bring out and help grow our program is just crazy phenomenal.
Yep.
You
No,
know,
absolutely. Those guys that you brought out last year were a big help to us. We lost two players in the first two tournaments, actually. Just unforeseen circumstances. We're a little and we lost two guys and we were a little short. So, actually Gary called me and was like, "Hey man, like what can I do to help?" And I said, "Dude, we need some guys." And he says, "I got you." And 36 hours later, we had three. All of them willing to travel, all of them good players, good team guys, right? Gary is one of those guys who I think that everybody that knows him understands he is a people first person, right? You got to be a good person to be around Gary. He doesn't deal with all that BS in his life. He's straight and to the point, and he's going to tell you the truth, whether it hurts your feelings or not. And I think that
which could be a handful sometimes.
you can be a handful sometimes.
I can't.
It could be a handful of roses. It could be a handful of shit, whatever. But you can be a handful sometimes.
Sometimes it's a handful.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Sometimes it is. So, I just think that the people that Gary brought out, good solid players, help the team grow, help the team win some ball games, and that's what we were looking for. But Gary, let's segue into some of the players that you helped bring in this year. Let's start with some of those 2027s that you helped bring in this year.
Well, we kind of I've seen this kid play since he was 13 years old with Michael, and I seen him play again before the summer started. And his dad was like, "Dude, how are you getting Michael all over the place?" I said, "Just wait, I'll call you." The shortstop from Ukaipa High School, D2, Damian Cordero, easily one of the top shortstops in California, in the nation. Right now in the young high school season, he's hitting .428. He's a leader. He's a good person. Good young man. Probably one of the best leadoff hitters in the country. throws mid-80s on the mound. And, he's just a good kid from a really good family. He messaged me the other day that he wanted to he got himself baptized.
Okay.
And, he told me that was a big thing to him, was building his relationship with God. And, man, what else do we want out of a young man? Good student, good shortstop, good hitter, and he wants to build a relationship with God. That's the first kid that we brought in that I think surprised some people that I was able to pull.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
now this second kid that I'm bringing hasn't been announced yet, but I had a conversation with his father yesterday, and he said to go ahead because I told him I was going to bring it up. He plays right field. He kind of has a bazooka attached to his right shoulder. His name's Brody Gomez.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
That name sounds familiar, Gary. That Gomez
yeah,
name sounds familiar.
yeah. He's a highly touted right fielder out of Southern California. Up to upper 80s on the mound. Now with Brody, I will say this: we don't know if it's going to be down the middle or at the backstop, but it's upper 80s.
It's upper eights, right?
Barrel to ball action is crazy. He participated in the Power Showcase a couple years ago. He has some raw power, speed. I mean, he's basically PG grade 8. So he's for
Okay.
sure a D1 prospect.
Sure.
Um, Huge move for us. It was huge for us to be able to bring him in.
Yep.
And I'm really excited for that 2027 team. I also was at the Power Showcase, which I forgot to mention. I'm a coach, scout, part of the Power Showcase, Brian Domenico. I
Shout
coached a
out,
young
Brian.
man. I coached a young man out of Utah, by the way, is Venezuela. Ali Camarillo. Shortstop. I seen him face 92 and just absolutely barreled the ball right center gap. Seen his raw power. Kid works hard. Kid works hard. His goal is to be another Venezuelan shortstop in the major leagues. His parents are both teachers at a community college in Utah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So education, kids there.
Yeah.
Athleticism, kids there. Good family. Like, it's kind of a growing theme, right? I like kids that work hard, that have come from good families. We want to surround ourselves with people like that. Those are the three main head stayers that I'm bringing to the 2027 class this
Yep.
year.
Yep. Yep.
Um, you know, when we lost it, I'm just gonna talk about the elephant in the room. When we lost the Dodgers name, people thought I wasn't gonna be able to get anybody. And I'll say this: Michael's middle name is Dodger.
Yep. It is. I saw his driver's license. That is a
Okay,
fact.
so everybody asked me what I was gonna do, and my answer is really simple. The Dodgers name got me in the door. The people that ran the teams in the organization kept me here. We're here for the long haul. And when I preached and showed everybody what you guys did for Michael, able to help him with everything, people want to be a part of that. And like you said, I'm kind of a meat and potato kind of guy. So if I say, hey, this is legit, people think it's legit. So
Yeah.
Brody, Ali, and Damien, that turned that team. I mean, we were a very, very solid team last year.
Yeah.
But now I think we're going to be a national contender.
Yeah. Some of these bigger tournaments. We're going to be deep enough, I think, this year to go into these national tournaments and really make some noise against some of these top teams in the country. Super deep lineup, right? 1 to 9, 1 to 10, whatever we're going to hit, all over the field. And then on the mound, we go 4 number ones deep, between, Johnny Galley, Ethan Whistler, Brody Leibel, and then Hawk Lakari. Those are 4 true number 1 starters that you're rolling out there on the mound. And then, with Brody being upper eights, all you got to do is bring him in and say, dude, 2 out of 3 got to be in the zone. Right?
Yeah,
That's it.
and Brody and Michael worked really well together last year. They threw no hitter together.
Nice. I like that.
And we got we don't talk about our head coach enough, Ryan Kelly.
No, Coach Kelly does not get enough credit for that team.
I will say this: younger guy, full of energy. From the outside looking in, everybody thinks he's just their friend, but that's what a good coach is supposed to be. Inside the dugout or outside of the stuff is where the kids get the stern talking to, and I know because I was part of one of those conversations
Yeah,
with one Michael Mendoza. Um, that Ryan Kelly is a phenomenal coach, and I think the right guy for the job for this.
yep, I agree.
You
He
know,
was
so
he was a great hire a few years ago. Has been at the forefront of that team and will continue to be at the forefront of that team until those boys graduate. We really appreciate what Ryan does for us, for the organization, and for the boys and the families. Right? He
yeah,
understands when to laugh, and then he understands when to be asshole Ryan. And you're
yeah,
like, oh boy, here
yeah.
we go.
And you could ask Ryan. According to him, me and him drove from Atlanta, Georgia, to Chattanooga, Tennessee, for the Atlanta tournament.
Yep.
I don't think we were in Chattanooga, Tennessee, but I mean it was a hike.
It was at least an hour and 45 minutes from where you guys are staying.
I was farther than that.
Dang. So, Gary, let's kind of segue into the Southwest, and let's get into your plans for the Southwest. What do you got going on there? What are your timelines for things? What are we when are we going to start seeing some of these Lynx teams popping up out there?
Well, obviously when I first joined, I talked to you about having the baby, so it was going to be kind of a slower process. So I was just kind of doing the recruiting on the national side. Like I told you before, I'm putting together partnerships with a lot of youth programs and a lot of really good coaches. Um, I look to have at least one or two teams for the middle school group, high school group for the fall of 2025. And then we're going to start rolling in and building our groups for the summer of 2026.
Nice.
We will focus on the Southwest region, the Arizonas, the Vegas, the Utahs, the Texas, which is a hotbed for baseball.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And we're going to focus on building those groups and extending our reach out to more and more kids and families.
That's right. Doing things the right way, right?
Yeah.
Not overextending ourselves, not making false promises, right? Everything, and I think Gary would attest to this 100% is, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So, if I make a promise to somebody, hey, look, we're going to be able to do this, we're going to be able to do that, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to grow, we're going to expand, but we're not going to overextend ourselves. And we're going to make sure that we can provide the best possible service for all of these families that we can. Super important to me, super important to Coach Beltran, super important to Gary, super important to Dennis and all the board members, right? That's what we're about, providing the best service that we can to these families and these kids. Gary, I want to take a few minutes and I want to chop it up with you about the Dodgers. They're over in Tokyo right now. They're going to play the Cubs, I think, in a few days. What do you got on the squad this year?
We are fully stacked. We have probably one of the best coaching staffs ever assembled. I'm a big Dave Roberts guy. Big Dave
Absolutely.
Roberts guy. I know a lot of people give him a lot of heat, but I'm a really big Dave Roberts guy. I love Dino Ebel. Talking baseball with Dino is different.
Yeah. Guys,
Um,
this is by the way, this is a Leather and Lumber First. We got Gary in the car driving to the job site right now on the podcast.
hey, like I said, I'm half full sometimes, but I get everything done, baby. Okay.
Yeah, it's Gary, what time is it out there in California?
7:20,
7:20 in the morning. You've been up since what time?
3:15.
Ay. Yeah.
Every day. Get
Every
up,
day.
go to work, get home 6 o'clock, put in work with Michael, figure it out.
That's right. No, I think the coaching staff for the Dodgers is phenomenal. Talk a little bit about the players, a little bit about the offseason, what you thought, what they got going on.
Well, losing Walker Buehler, that hurt me. Personally, I took that personal. I mean, I'm proud of him, happy for him to win it, do what he did out of the pen.
Yep.
One of the most brutally honest pitchers I've ever seen in my life. The whole year, he talked about how he sucked and how he wasn't good enough and he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing. And he thought he was going to get released by the Dodgers. Walker freaking Buehler. Then he puts it together like he always does in the postseason, comes out, closes the World Series. And I know it was game 5, but that was our game 7 because we had no more pitching. We were decimated. And losing him hurt,
Yeah.
right? But I knew that's the business side. I can tell you exactly where I was when we signed Shohei Ohtani, okay, 2 years ago.
Yep.
I mean, literally was standing at Bishop Amont watching Michael play baseball. I was on the visiting side, got the alert from Shohei's Instagram, and I ran. I mean, picture this, 5'11", 315 pounds, full sprint to the other side. Bang! We signed Shohei. The game literally stopped, and everybody went wild. So, so I'm like, all right, good things ain't going to keep happening to us. We re-signed Teoscar. Man,
Biggest signing of the offseason, I think. And Sasaki's going to be a awesome pitcher for them.
yeah. Teoscar, I mean, te amo mucho. We needed him. Then, Sasaki, of course. I have a little running joke with the Jep Angeles Dodgers. Right? But, I like what we're doing. We're bringing the game to international. We got Puerto Ricans. We got Dominicans. We got Japanese players. And then we got the good old American boys. Like, we're just a hodgepodge of everything LA is, right? LA's a melting pot.
Yeah.
And we're blue collar. Our guys get to work. And there was an interview with Dino the other day on Instagram. And he was basically saying that all the teams are good, but the best teams are with the players that are obsessed with the game, obsessed with the details, and obsessed with winning. And that's what I think the Dodgers are. I know a lot of people are mad because we're spending the money. Listen, every owner has money to spend. And the Dodgers are just saying, we're going to spend money and we're going to make money because we're going to win. And that's what we're doing. So, I mean, getting Kike back. I know people are going to say, oh, Kike's a role. Yes, he is probably the greatest role player of all time. I mean, I remember Dave Hansen coming off the bench. Yeah, back in the day, he was a pitch hitter, right?
Yep.
We've had Brett Butler. I mean, yeah. See, I mean, you want to talk Dodgers? Let's talk Dodgers. We've had those guys, and we've had the Sean Greens and the Manny Machados, which I really wish Manny would have worked out in LA. But I just don't think he wanted to be here.
I don't think he was that type of clubhouse guy, man. Like the Dodgers are big into culture and clubhouse, and I just don't think he was quite that guy.
Yes, but I think if we get the Manny Machado that's now, I think it's a totally different ballgame. I think LA made Manny Machado realize, okay, I can still be me, but I need to be something different.
Well, I think that LA made Manny realize I don't want to be somewhere where I'm not the guy.
Interesting.
He was the guy in Baltimore, and then he went to LA and was not the guy and was like, this is not for me. And now he can be the guy in San Diego.
Yeah, our little brothers over there, they're so cute.
Yeah. So, and the thing with Manny is I played with Manny. We were in spring training together. Now, Manny was a young kid when I played with him, and he was a great player, like phenomenal young man. He worked his ass off. He played hard. He was a good kid, and coming up with Baltimore, I just don't think there was any true veteran leadership that could take him, under their wing and say, hey, look, kiddo, this is not how you do things in the big leagues. Like, he was very fiery. He got into some scuffles. He's been ejected a number of times.
Only 9. I seen that pop up today.
Yeah.
Fun fact of the day, Bryce Harper's been thrown out 21 times. Yep. The next closest is Manny Machado at 9.
Yep. I saw that the other day too.
Fun fact.
Yep. So, I just think that, he went to LA and he kind of saw the way that they did things. And, I say I'll always be a Dodger. And I think he saw the way that we did things, and all of a sudden he was like, you know what? If I pop off and get run out of here, like, my teammates aren't going to like that because I'm not the guy here. Right. They had the Hall of Famer and Clayton Kershaw. They have,
They had Corey Seager at the time,
they
no?
had Corey Seager at that time, right? They had players that were just better. They were already established in LA, and Manny wasn't the guy when he was there. And I think that he kind of realized, hey, look, if I go get thrown out somewhere else where I'm the guy, it doesn't really affect me. There's nobody to hold me accountable other than the front office, and they're not going to, because they're the ones signing the checks, and that money's guaranteed regardless of what happens. So, I mean, he can go be the guy in San Diego.
Yeah. Can we give a shout out to Big Frank in New York for the top of the 5th inning for the New York Yankees?
Frankie C up in he's actually in Jersey, Gary.
Oh, yeah, well, I call him New York. New York, New Jersey, it's tomato. Right? You said I was from LA, i.e. it's totally different.
It is. The Empire is a little farther east.
Where the Inland Empire is like a handful. But yeah, Frankie C, shout out to the top of the 5th inning, game 5.
So top of the 5th inning, game 5. I was on the phone with Gary. He was on speakerphone. I was in the Lowe's Foods grocery shopping. It was probably 9:15 my time. And I'm grocery shopping. I've got him on speaker. How long do you think that inning lasted? 40-something minutes?
I can't even tell you. I mean, to be honest with you, I can't even tell you. I was just it was a roller coaster of emotions. I mean,
I tried to get off the phone with you 3 times, and you screamed at me, "Don't you dare!"
Oh yeah, when you started coming back, you wanted to ruin my juju.
Yeah,
no,
I did.
We weren't gonna let you ruin my juju. That wasn't gonna happen.
So I go through the grocery store with Gary on speakerphone because I forgot my headset. Get in the car, ride home with him, walk into my house, and my wife is sitting in the kitchen, and Gary is screaming because Judge dropped that ball in center field, tied up the game, and Gary is going wild. And my wife is looking at me like, who in the flying you-know-what is on the phone? And I turned it around, and she sees Gary's name. She's like, oh, hi, Gary. And he is just screaming his head off.
Hey, question for you. Spring training for Lynx baseball March in the end of May, right?
Yeah.
Are we going to cover PFPs?
Oh, PFPs are going to happen.
I'm just asking for my friend Frankie C. That's all.
Yeah. Frank, don't worry. We'll cover PFPs. We'll get that taken care of. We'll make sure no matter who you are, you go over and cover first base.
Don't you just point? No pointing. You wanted me to go on this tangent, didn't you?
I did.
This was your plan.
That's
Can we talk about game 1 when I was there?
How'd you get there, Gary?
Well, my good friend shall remain nameless. It rhymes with Ron Bink. He hooked us up with some tickets.
Yep.
So,
game 1 World Series.
My wife, who was not even supposed to be, I think she was a week removed from a C-section?
Yeah.
I said, all right, so you're not going? She's like, I'm going. I've never seen in my life somebody healed and able to jump up and down. I think about it. I got to witness 2020 World Series, which was, everybody says whatever they want to say, but I got to witness that World Series and took a shot with my dad, who in my 41 years of life, I've really never seen him take a drink of alcohol in his life. Then, I couldn't afford at the time, any games for the 2017 or 18 World Series. We were going to figure out a way to go, and we got blessed, and we went, and I got to witness probably the greatest postseason home run in the history of the game.
Oh, that's fair. Freddie's homer that game was
A
incredible.
walk-off grand slam.
Yep.
At the time, I was wearing my Oakleys on my hat. They're gone. I have no idea where those went.
Yeah.
I probably ran up and down the aisle and hugged about 1,000 men, 1,000 women. Anybody and everybody was hugging everybody.
Yep.
It was crazy.
I think it's one of the greatest moments in Dodgers history.
I agree. I was 5 years
from
old when
probably
Kirk Gibson hit his
second
home
most
run.
storied franchise. I think that it's one of the greatest moments in Dodgers history.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I was 5 years old when Kirk Gibson hit his home run. You know, I was glued to the TV when the Astros robbed us out of a World Series. I don't want to get into that because that's a whole nother podcast. Probably 8 hours I can go on about that. Yeah, I would say that was one of the greatest baseball moments I've ever witnessed in my life.
Yeah, it was wild for sure.
So I'm hoping 2025, you know, we stay healthier because, I mean, how could you question Dave Roberts with the pitching staff that we didn't have in the playoffs?
Yeah.
We did not have a pitching staff. Jack Flaherty gave it his best. Walker Buehler pulled it out. I mean, my mind just went blank on our number 18 guy. What's his name? The other Japanese pitcher. Yamamoto. Young. I mean, yes, he's pitching the WBC. Yes. It's a different animal.
The playoffs are different. The big leagues are different. The playoffs are even more different.
You know, we finally got over the hump by beating you, Darvish. After we beat the Padres, I was worried about the Yankees. You can ask Frank C. He would text me, and I'm like, dude, this is not good for us. This is not good for us. Even in Game 5, he was like, you guys are fine. I'm like, no, it's over. It's over. We lose Game 5, we lose the series.
Yep, I agree.
And, you know, my favorite baseball player of all time, Aaron Judge, did me a solid by dropping the fly ball. He wasn't my favorite until that inning, by the way.
Yeah, until that moment, actually.
Yeah, I mean, what a tear Giancarlo Stanton was on, huh?
Yeah.
So I just, that was an amazing moment, and I'm hoping 2025 continues to bring that. You know, I don't think our guys are happy with just winning one.
No, they want to win more. Like, winning's infectious, man. Like, it's infectious, it's contagious, and once you got your piece of it, that's all you want to do is win. That's why the minor leagues are so hard, because there's no emphasis on it.
Yeah.
Right? There's no emphasis on winning. It's all about development to what you can do to help the big league club win. That's what the emphasis is on in the minor leagues. So in the big leagues, it's all about winning. And the thing is not a lot of these organizations teach you how to win in the minor leagues, because they're really not, that's not what they're about. They're about getting these guys big league ready so that they can help their big league clubs win.
Right.
So, fun fact for everybody that thinks that minor league baseball is easy and it's fun and this, that, and the other. It is fun. It is not easy, because if the players have to be the ones about winning, right? Because most front offices really don't care about it. It's not their job, right? Their job is to win in the big leagues. That's how they keep their jobs, and I get it. But the players in the minor leagues, it can be really hard if, you know, night in and night out, you're getting just L's hung on you. I mean, that is tough. So,
yeah.
And I went through it. I went through some teams that were really bad, and I went through some teams that were really, really good. And the teams that were bad, those were miserable seasons.
Maverick's godfather, Cody Freeman's going through that now. He's on the Rangers organization.
Yep.
He tells me all the time, like, you got to be self-motivated. Like, and he talk. I've been so blessed with baseball people in Meat's corner, Michael Meat Mendoza's corner. Like, he tells me all the time, like, are you ready for this? He's like, yeah. He's like, dude, it's all self-driven, self-motivation. You know, Cody got drafted as a shortstop out of Etiwanda High School. Gets there, moving to third base. 2 weeks later, like, hey, you've never caught before. You're catching for us now.
Thanks for coming.
So, yeah. So now he's like, okay, I'm a catcher. So he works his butt off. Comes a really good catcher. They're like, you know what? Actually, we think we want you at third base. And he's a big league spring training invite this year, non-roster invitee.
Yep.
People don't talk about the grind that baseball is. Everybody at home says,
Everybody thinks they know.
well, they
Nobody
get
really
paid
knows.
millions of dollars. I mean, listen, take the money out of it, right? Yes, they get paid millions of dollars, so their grind is different than my grind or your grind. But imagine having all the money in the world that you've always wanted and never had, and now you got to work harder than ever, because if you don't, your career is over.
Like that. Because somebody's trying to take all that money that they gave you.
Right?
Somebody's trying to get your next contract.
And it's just crazy, you know, how much people don't understand that goes into a 162 game season plus the playoffs. I mean,
Plus spring training.
Spring training, and then off season when you do relax for a month and then go right back to training your body.
Most guys don't take a month. Most guys take 2 weeks.
Yeah, see?
I mean, think about this. For everybody, let's talk about this, right? So, baseball spring training, Major League Baseball spring training, I think started the 12th this year. I think they reported the 12th or 13th. Okay?
Yeah.
Spring training will last until March 28th. They'll break. Okay? The big league clubs play 162 games in 180 days. Okay? Do that math. Right?
Yeah.
You get 18 days off in 6 months. 3 of them come at one time during the All-Star break. Okay? So, opening day is typically what? April 2nd, April 3rd, right?
Yeah.
So you play for 6 months. So the first weekend in October is pretty much you're done. Playoff starts.
Well, if you're on the Angels, you're done by September.
You're done by July, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, and I feel bad for Mike Trout, but my God, it's the truth. So, or if you're Anthony Rendon, you're done now.
Oh man, did we dodge a bullet on that one? I wanted him so bad.
Yeah. You know, so you're going, you know.
I'll watch this. I'm at a podcast right now. This is a shout out to freshman Jaime from Northview High School. Meets teammate.
What's up, dude?
Get out of here. Hurry up.
All right, yo. So you go February 12th until, you know, October, what? 1st, 2nd, 3rd, right?
Yeah.
Every day. 18 days off total in that span. Right? And then if you're lucky, you make the playoffs. You make it to the championship series. That's the middle of October. Maybe into late October. You make to the World Series, you're into November.
Yeah.
I mean, and then what do? Do you have any time to take off? You're done November 10th. Do you have any time to take off?
Not if you want to be great.
2.5 months.
Not if you want to be great.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, guys just don't have it. Like, you got a week or two, maybe. Then you got to get back to the grind. Because there's and the hard truth about this is there's some poor kid in Mexico or the Dominican Republic or Venezuela or Cuba that's trying to get out of there and trying to take your job. Like, that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Right? That's the way out of their country and to support their family. And, you know, that's it. And it's literally the difference between life or death for some of those players. So, you know, they're not going to be outworked. And I think that most people don't realize is that, you know, this isn't glitz and glam. The minor leagues is not glitz and glam. It is a grind. The big league offseason is a grind, right? These players are trying to get better. They're trying to make money. They're trying to keep their jobs. They're trying to support their families, right? It's not just about entertainment value.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I laugh at these parents and these kids that think that their 1 day a week practice is enough. You know, I've been hit, John. I've been hit with this Michael's entire baseball career. You're going to burn him out. You're going to burn him out. But here's the truth. When you wake up, kids, you say, you have to go do this. You have to go do this. Yes, you're going to burn them out. But when you wake up and your kid's like, Dad, we got to go to the field. Dad, we got to go here. Dad, I'm too slow. Dad, get a gym membership. Dad, you support them.
Yep. That's right.
I've never had to make Michael go to practice. Now there is certain times and certain things where I'm like, no. If this is what you want to do, this is what we have to do. There isn't a shortcut, right? Because, as he's getting older, keeping him focused on what his goals are,
Yep.
it's hard.
Yeah.
But again, I'm blessed. I got you. If I ever have issues where Michael thinks I'm just dad, I just send a text to you. Gets handled immediately. I call Cody Freeman, gets handled immediately. I got guys, Dino Ebel gets handled immediately. I just been blessed. And the grind is real, John. Not just for kids, right? Like, I hate when parents compare their kid to somebody else. I tell the parent, well, what are you doing to help that kid?
I think that's why so many people respect you.
Yeah,
You're not gonna hold your punches, man. You're gonna tell them like, hey, look, I mean, yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing to help? Right?
I've had
More than just forking over the money.
It's crazy because I've had people like, oh, we want to train with you guys. I'm like, I don't think you do. They're like, no, we do. All right. Well, we're going to the gym on Sunday, 6 a.m. at 24-hour fitness. Why so early? And that's what we're doing. Like in the off season, we get up, we go to the gym, we come home, we eat breakfast, we go out to my backyard, we hit, relax, we go to the field next door, we work on throwdowns and blocking. That's our Sunday. And then, Monday, Wednesday, Friday to speed and agility. Tuesday, Thursday, we're at the gym. It lessons, travel. Oh, I would never drop my kid off in Florida. Oh, then don't compare your kid to mine or other kids that are doing that. That's what we had to do. Yeah, my wife is crazy for letting me be crazy, but she gets it. My wife was an all-county volleyball player, an all-league basketball player. Like, she gets it. And
Well, but what did you tell me, when Michael first got home, right? What did you tell me that Jill said about him?
about how much he changed and grew up
Yeah.
and how proud.
Yeah.
Like he was a different kid. And don't get me wrong, like he came home like at 9 o'clock at night our time. So that was midnight his time, right? Because he was back east all summer.
Yep.
And half my family's at my house to eat dinner with him because they all missed him.
Yeah.
He's a good kid. I mean, and this is what I told her, like, if this is what he wants to do, we have to support him. Both my sons. Well, now all three, right?
Yeah.
They will never be able to say, like, oh, I would have made it if my dad believed in me. No, you didn't make it because you didn't make it. I did everything I could.
Yep.
Or you made it because you wanted it and you made it.
Yep.
It's just the grind is real in baseball, John.
All I did was support you. You put in the work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The grind is real in baseball and it teaches life skills.
That's right.
It's hard. And the big leagues is even worse.
Oh yeah. Cutthroat. And it's business. It's not just baseball at that point.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Walker Buehler, you came in and won the game for us. Yeah, we're not offering you a contract.
Yep.
And I say the game like it was just a game. You clinched the World Series for us.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, yeah, thank you.
Yep. That's right.
It's crazy.
Yep. Well, Gary, man, I really appreciate you doing this. I know it's early over there, but you have been up since before this podcast even started. So,
I probably was up before you were up, sir.
Yes, you were. That's a fact. I was asleep when you first got up. That's 100% fact. But man, I really appreciate you doing this. Thanks for being on. Any last shout outs to anybody?
Yeah. Shout out to Northview High School. That coaching staff, Dan Roddy, Tosh Clark. What they're doing with Michael behind the scenes, making sure he's doing his grades, his school, his behavior, his attitude, being the leader. second to none. Thank you,
That's right.
Josh Clark, Dan Roddy, Northview High School.
Shout out to Northview High School, those coaches over there. Great job with Michael. We appreciate what you're doing to help him. All right, everyone, like, listen, subscribe. That is Gary Mendoza. That is the director of the Southwest for Lynx Baseball. Gary, I appreciate you, brother. We'll see you later.
Peace out, John.